Hello, everybody. Welcome to another exciting episode of Jimmy's JamBox. We're here. We're back at it again, and we're going to get on into it. But before we do, as always, please make sure to like, subscribe, push all the buttons, do all the things. You know, I don't know where they are, but you do, and I trust you. With that being said, here's a quick word from our sponsor. Oolong Passion, a uniquely fruity tea with tropical blends of oolong, passion fruit, blood orange, lemongrass, and coconut. The Brothers Apothecary. Fine teas and remedies. All right, thank y'all so much for watching again. Shout out The Brothers Apothecary. Make sure to click the link below. Go check them out. Guarantee you're going to like it. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get on into it. Here is today's guest.
Hey, it's No Offense.
Hello. Thank you so much for joining us. Why don't you tell us a little bit about, where you're from, what you do, give us that like Tinder profile of your involvement with music.
Yeah, my name is No Offense. I'm from Corvallis, Oregon. I make music with my friends.
Oh yeah. And what got you into music initially?
I got my first guitar when I was 6 years old, so it's been a lifelong thing. But yeah, I really started rapping a lot more when I was like 15. Mm-hmm. Got put around a bunch of the people in Born Broke Die Famous, and they really just took me in. So it's been hitting the ground running ever since then.
Oh yeah. Do you still do guitar now?
Yeah, actually, I've just started getting back into it.
Nice.
So yeah, I found a bunch of my old equipment and was like, yo, we got to give this a shot again.
Hey, that's especially if you still have all this stuff. No reason not to.
Literally the one thing I had to get was more chords, more quarter-inch jack.
Oh no, a life we as musicians never have to live.
Seriously. It's like, I got to get 2 extra too, just to be safe, because these ones going to go out sometime.
You always got to have a backup.
Amen.
I've got like 2 bags of them just sitting outside the room. I'm like, nothing will ever die.
Right.
No, but that's cool. And also it's cool that even though you are currently a rap artist, mainly that you started on an instrument. I think 100%. That's important.
It's imperative especially with what we do with melodies and harmonies and stuff like that. It's just important to know notes.
Or at least be familiar with it.
Yeah, make somebody's life easier too. And when you're like, hey, I want this, and this, so you be able to actually like articulate what you're trying to get out of it.
Yeah, even if you can't like communicate the music, you can also be like, let me pick this up and play these notes for you. This is how I'm hearing them.
100%.
Yeah, because they like in my old band Smooth Talk. Shout out Smooth Talk. I can't read music, so I can't communicate that way. But my guitar player, he was like an graduated from like a prestigious music school, taught a bunch of lessons, did all this stuff. And so I would tell my guitar player what I was playing, and then he would look over at my keyboard player and tell my keyboard player what I was playing.
Got you, yeah.
In a way that could communicate it.
That's awesome. Yeah, I seen a video, and I don't know why this made me think of this, but Justin Bieber with an orchestra and being like, all right, I need y'all to do like bum, bum, bum.
Yeah.
Make it a little softer, and then at the end of it, there's just like this huge orchestra just playing like this one song that's just like crazy good. You're just like, wait, where did this all come from?
Hey, I mean, especially as a musician, if you're talented at your instrument, that's all you need is
literally
just to give you the sound.
That's crazy.
But getting back into you, we're going to stick to a couple like foundationary questions for a little bit, just so we can get to know the you that got to here. And what was some of the early music you heard growing up? What were some of the first like songs and things that you remember hearing?
Man, my mom's listened to country a lot.
Yeah.
We don't listen to none of that no more. But my dad was like rock and roll. He, and then I got into like metal as a kid, just because like guitar, like the metal guitarists are just absolutely insane. So just a lot of that. And then, my first like rap record was Gucci Mane, Return of Mr. Zone 6. So got introduced to rap in that way. And so that was like super awesome, and then like Beastie Boys and, NWA and all of that. So those were like my tracks as a kid.
Oh yeah. And then this next one, this is super foundation question, but it's one we ask early. It's one we ask often. It's definitely a crowd favorite. What was the first album you ever bought with your own money?
It was that Return of Mr. Zone 6. Yeah,
Damn.
yeah, that was like Ranch Records in Bend where I grew up, you know, and like you go down and like that was like the first like time, and I remember having to sneak it back into my house because my dad didn't like rap, you know, so like, yeah, that was the yeah. Oh, I might have bought some shit on my mom's iTunes without her knowing. That was the first physical
we won't let
copy.
you air that out. Yeah. Allegedly.
Yeah, right. Amen. Yeah. That was the first like actual like rap record that I went out and I was like, nah, like this is going to be mine. You know what I mean? So and I think I still have it to this day.
Nice. That's a good feeling when you still have like the first music that you bought. That's special. And then what was the first live show you ever went to? That was like one you wanted to go to. So not when that like someone was like, hey, this is happening, but you were like, I see this.
That's a great question. Yeah. Kevin Gates, Wiz Khalifa, and Snoop Dogg.
Okay.
Kevin Gates is my favorite artist of all time. Mm-hmm. So going and seeing him live and then seeing him with Wiz Khalifa and like Jen Aiko was there, like a bunch of just like really talented artists.
Yeah.
I actually got a probation violation for going because I crossed state lines without checking it, but I was like, I got the call, like somebody had an extra ticket and I was like, no, we there. We are there. So, and it was worth it. It was the best concert I've ever been to this day.
That's wild.
Honorable mention was Slipknot, like seeing all them people work together, bro. And just like I can't remember if it's 8 or 9, but just seeing all of them, like,
I think it's 9. Don't quote me on that.
Freaking crazy. Like the drummers going upside down on the, like, it was nuts. And that was actually at the Moda Center. So that was like, that was a good one.
Yeah. It didn't get in trouble for that one.
No. Didn't have to travel too far and my mom took me. So I had an escort.
Hell yeah. And then to wrap up the foundation questions, do you have a defining moment where music became like, not just like a thing to do, but like the thing to do?
Last year, coming up on the year anniversary of it, but one of my projects debuting on the charts was absolutely crazy, and it just kind of validated everything that we were working for. And so, like, yeah, I think that would be my moment that just stands out to me. Like, I got to do this, you know. Like, I got to just keep going, you know. So, yeah.
Hell yeah.
6.
Hell yeah. All right, now let's go ahead and get on into you in the present day. And I mean, we're just going to get the easy one out of the way. How did you pick your name?
Man, I had this dumbass rap name. I can't remember what it was, but I think it was in the car with Stormy and like a couple of the boys in Born Broke Die Famous. Mm-hmm. And somebody looks at me and they were just like, hey, no offense, bro, but that name is dumb. And I was like, I think I'm gonna go with that instead, you know. So yeah, no offense, and it's always just been it's been what people are like, man, like I didn't know you, but then I saw your name and I was like, oh, this guy's got to be funny. And then you play my music and it's sad as hell, and you're like, what the fuck, dude? So I really like wrote people in under false pretenses with a funny name.
I mean, it is clever. I'll give you that. Like it, especially because you spell it, like 2 regular names.
I've heard some dumb shit in my days, but somebody told me one time that they thought my name was No Offense because I like Kevin Gates. And I was like, how the hell did we get from one to the other right there?
That's so funny. Whoever said that, thank you. That's amazing. That hurts.
It was like,
man, I had to sit with that one for a second and just be like, yep. Fences and Gates.
Yep.
Noah and Kevin.
Yep.
Normal last names with specific yard appendages for the last name.
Amen.
Okay.
Amen.
Okay.
So that's actually why my name is No Offense, is because I like Kevin Gates so much.
I was going to say, you should just run with that given that fact. But no, that's fun. So your first name is not Noah.
No, my first name is Noah.
Okay. So
yeah.
I was like,
I'm a natural born Noah.
Okay, I just wanted to tie that in. I was like, because there's somebody who their artist name has a regular name in it, but that's not anywhere close to their regular name. And I was like, hey man, why'd you do that? And he was like, I got to tell you all this. I was like, I
think I'm legally going to change my last name to Fence too.
I mean,
so it'll
might
be,
as
well. Noah H. Fence, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you might as well. Then you can commit to the bit even further.
Amen.
You can tell everybody one thing and then be like, oh, also it's my name.
No, this is what my mom gave me, you know?
Hell yeah. And then let's go ahead and let's dive into your writing process.
Yeah.
And we're going to break it up into pieces, but I want to start right at the beginning. So when you get inspired, we'll cross that step off the list. You are ready to make music. You're ready to sit down and actually put a track down. What are some of the things you do in the beginning?
Honestly, it's a lot of freestyle and going and picking, being like, okay, like I just spit 4 bars, 2 of them were good, you know, and then so I'll get a structure down. First I'll jump around a little bit, but like first I'll pick a mood, you know, so like, and a lot of times it's just what I'm feeling, you know. I'm never like, oh, I'm happy right now, but I really need to go make a sad song, you know. So. And then
you don't just like bumming yourself out in the middle of a good day.
I mean, you know, sometimes you do what you got to do.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, and a lot of the times I'm with the homies when we're making music. So a lot of times they're like, hey, you know, I've got this hook concept, you know, and I really want to do that, you know, and so we'll play off of that. A lot of it's like, it's hard to say. Like a lot of it just flows, you know, and like it's a lot of trial and error, being like, okay, this works, you know, and this doesn't work.
Yeah.
And so trying not to be too hard on myself and just going through the process and just writing shit down, you know, like try not to overanalyze it.
Hell yeah.
A lot of weed too.
Yeah. Allegedly.
That
one's fun for me because it's legal everywhere. And then once you get a track finished, so you got everything written, it's, you know, at least, you know, as far as pen to paper goes, you've got it all written down.
Right.
How long does it take you to get comfortable performing the track?
That's a great question. I don't know. Normally when I make a song, dude, I'm just so excited for the world to hear it.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of times I post music, you know, 3 months in advance. So, a lot of times at shows I'm doing unreleased music and stuff like that, just because I'm like, dude, this is my best song ever, you know, and it's the same thing every song I drop. So, it's pretty quick turnaround. I'd probably say like 2 to 3 weeks. I'm going to try to get a show mix out and get it done. So
no, totally. I mean, I think that's, you know, that's a reasonable turnaround, especially for like an individual to learn something. Right. I mean, like if you had to coordinate with like 4 other people,
100%,
and be like, all right, guys, on this cue, we've got a head spin here. Like that could take, I think, a little more time. But I think for an individual, if they're especially if they're focusing on the one song to learn, so that seems like a reasonable amount of time. And then looking back on, we'll say 2023, because we're still pretty close to it. But for all of 2023, how did your process change?
I quit drinking, you know, so a lot of self-reflection and shit like that throughout the whole year. Mm-hmm. And just a lot more remembering things, which is always great, especially in this industry. So just like became a better person, and I think that bled into my music and just made me a lot more enjoyable, in my opinion, everywhere. And so like shows were more fun because I remember the whole thing, you know, and like that kind of stuff, and like just the connections that I've made in the last like 8 months that I've been sober has been just like incredible.
Oh yeah. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
It sounds like that was a wise decision for you.
Oh yeah.
No, and I think, you know, that's like, we're not going to get into the whole like uses of substance in the communities and things like that. But I think there's such a big focus on it as part, like it's in every part of the narrative.
100%.
You know what I mean? Like, and I think that a lot of times people don't realize that the music can be something that can be present in the spaces in between parties.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And like, I mean, going to shows and stuff like that, they pay you in drink tickets half the time, you know? So it's like, you know, it's a hard industry to be in and try to maintain. But I feel like I've just grown so much because of it. So
no, totally. Well, definitely keep it up then. It sounds like it's a positive experience. And then speaking of positive experiences, I want you to look at your current music. So tracks you're putting out, tracks that have just recently come out, you know, things that are going to be happening soon. What are some characteristics of your sound that you enjoy?
I just love like the vibrato and like the raspiness that I've been coming with recently, and just I feel like it's given me my own unique sound that I haven't heard it around here, you know, and so I'm very proud of it, you know, and all, like, I'm making music with a bunch of my friends. Every single one of us sound different. And I like that. I like the uniqueness. I like that, you know, when I'm done and Stormy's hopping on, you know? Yeah.
No, that's a big one. I think a lot of people spend time around people who sound similar to them, and then you put them on a track together and you're like, who is who?
Yeah.
Like, I think having distinctive voice in between each artist, as well as individually. Who was I sitting with? Didi Presents. Shout out Didi. In his episode, he talks about how he has like 3 distinct voices
Yeah.
that he does, and how it adds a lot of layers and variety. And I think that's a really interesting concept.
Yeah.
But yeah, just being able to have differences of sound, especially in an individual track, it really opens up a lot.
Well, and like, if you're just making the same shit over and over again, eventually it's going to get boring, you know?
I mean, don't tell that to AC/DC. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, but totally.
Shots fired.
Yeah, right. Oh, no. But yeah, no, I definitely dig that. And then let's look at, I usually pick most recent album, but your most recent album came out in 22. So let's look at your most recent single, Pieces, which just came out. Take us through that a little bit. What was the experience for that track?
Man, so just a lot of pain, man. Just going through exactly what I was going through in that moment. You can hear it. A lot of like, I fucked everybody over, throughout my addiction and stuff like that. And then getting, literally trying to pick the pieces up of that, and that's really what it's about. I wrote that song like 2 or 3 days after I made the decision to get sober. And looking back at what was going on in my life at that point in time, I had a lot of resentment to the people that had left me at that moment in time. Mm-hmm. And realistically, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. So it's the project that's coming out with Pieces is some of the most painful music I've ever made, but some of the most impactful and some of the most meaningful to me specifically. So that song is the best song I've ever done in my life. And I like still get goosebumps when I listen to that song. It takes me back to where I was when I recorded it the first time, And so that's Pieces in a nutshell.
Oh yeah, that's really powerful. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, of course.
And then that actually conveniently segues into this next one. This next question is probably the densest question in the interview.
Okay.
But we've talked a lot about the experiences with music, the things that you had coming up, the things that happen because of it, your actions with it, and reactions. But when it's just you and the music, one-on-one, what does the music give back to you?
It's a therapy. It's a therapy session. It's I never have been one to like make a song that doesn't represent me, And so when I the music is more true to me than I am to it, and that's saying something. If I there's been so many times that I've written something down and been like, damn dog, like you feel like that? Like what the fuck, so it opens my eyes in so many different ways on how I'm feeling about something, just because I know that I can't lie to myself, especially when I'm making music. I can't tell a lie. I have to be what I am, and that's me, And so I'm like, I'll make a sad song, and you might not agree with it, but somebody out there does, and somebody out there is feeling the exact same way that I am. I was just able to put it on paper, Mm-hmm. And so that is like the biggest gift when it comes to music to me. It's like therapy. It's a counseling session. It's me and a piece of paper getting our shit out,
Oh,
so yeah.
Oh yeah. And then lastly, at least for this middle portion before we move on to the next segment, what is your goal with music? Like what is the end look like for you?
Trying to buy my mom's a house, man. I'm trying to, my best friend over here, he's got 2 kids. I'm trying to make sure they don't got to pay for their college, It's a lot more about supporting the support system, the people that have given me the time and the resources to make this happen, That's my end goal, If everybody around me is fed, everybody around me is happy, that's it, I mean, obviously I want money, I want fame, but that's what we do it for, and I feel like everybody in my group feels the exact same way.
Huh. Just to extrapolate a little bit more, if we call that the rewards of the end goal, more, I guess, what does your artistic end goal look like? Like, where would you consider yourself having made it as an artist?
I want to go diamond. I want plaques, I want to know that my music has been heard by everybody who needs to hear it. That I'd say that, the numbers, the streams, that type of shit really would mean something.
Hell yeah. All right. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, of course.
And now we're going to go ahead. We're going to move on to some hypothetical questions.
Yes, I've been waiting.
And for these, the questions are all made up, so the answers are too.
Awesome.
And for this first one, I feel like I know the answer.
Okay.
But if you could work with any one person,
Oh, yeah.
the only requirement, they have to be alive.
Yeah, Kevin Gates, man.
Yep.
And, if not Kevin Gates, I'd just to make it a lot more interesting, I'd probably say Post Malone.
Okay.
To like getting that, I feel like our styles would mesh well together with both of those artists.
Yeah. And usually the second half of the question is, how would you want to work with them?
I want to sit down in a studio and just, soak up that game, like that would probably be more meaningful to me than a track with them, is just to see what their process is like and see how they think about things, So yeah, that would be it. Sitting down in a room, I want to make it all organic,
And then subsequently, who's a local artist that you're aware of that you haven't gotten to connect with yet, but you would like to?
I'd say Fig. Yeah. So like me and Fig, we've done shows together and stuff like that, but we need a track together, Fig, if you're watching this.
Hell yeah. And then for this next one, if you could perform anywhere in the world, and you wouldn't have to worry about crowd access or building stability or power, guaranteed best lineup, guaranteed best show, and it doesn't have to be a venue. It could be anywhere. Where would you want to perform?
It's brand new. The Sphere in Las Vegas.
Yep.
Everything I see out of that place is absolutely insane. And that's a dream. That would be a dream right there.
I was talking to somebody else about it because that's the new that has replaced Red Rock pretty much as the like place to go. I think that, and I'm going to keep saying this every time somebody brings it up until somebody watching an episode makes this a reality, but I think that really proves to us that we as regular people have been underutilizing IMAX theaters for too long.
Amen, dude.
Like, could you imagine? Like, it's not quite the scale, but it's still that dome experience,
right.
Still the multi-speaker experience. Like, somebody can make visuals for an IMAX theater. And we
got to make that happen. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
We got to make that happen.
Yeah. Either you've got to do it or somebody out there has got to do it. But IMAX theaters, we should be capitalizing on those, making it a whole new venue experience.
Amen.
Oh, yeah. And then for this last one, if you could get one more album from anybody, they could be alive, they could be dead, they could have put out an album yesterday, they could have not put out an album in 100 years, but you could get one more album. Who would you want the album from, and when would you have wanted it to come out?
Damn, that's a hard question. I say another Biggie or Pac album, just because of how influential artists they are, and then I would want, something in my time, So yeah, I'd say Biggie or Pac in like the 2010s.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I feel like that's probably a pretty common answer.
You know what? We're gonna put a twist on that. We're going to put a twist. I would love to see a 2022 collaborative album between the two of them.
Yeah.
The beef would have been squashed by then.
All on trap beats too.
Yeah. Man. No, I'm not going to tangent on that. It would have been so barely connectable, but I had a thought, but I'll leave it for another time. Let's go ahead and let's start wrapping this up. Now, this is usually where I go, hey, everybody, what do you got coming up for the next like half a year? What's going on in the future? But you have something that I believe is coming out right now. Like It's available as people are watching this. So go ahead and hype up what you got coming up in the near future.
So my EP, Send My Love to Moms, 4-song EP is coming out today, February 6th, 2024. Available on all platforms under the name No Offense. Like I said, it's some of the most meaningful music that I've ever made in my life. So we got that going on. We got shows coming up. We're planning the Pieces tour right now. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's pretty much what the next 6 months look like, man. It's like getting ready for after Send My Love to Moms drops. Now we're in album mode. Mm-hmm. And so I'm looking at July for that.
Yeah.
And then we'll just run it up again. So yeah, a lot of shows planned. Yeah, that's it, man.
That's exciting. Definitely looking forward to that. And then for this next one, go and look straight at the camera and tell everybody how they can find you.
So you can find me at No Offense Music on pretty much everything. Instagram, Facebook. I got my link tree on there, and you can find everything connected to that.
Hell yeah. And then any other plugs, any other shout outs, anybody else you want to put on while you're on here?
Shout out my boy Stormy outside. Shout out all the Dirt Squad and My Team Studios.
Hell yeah. All right, now we've got one last question to go. But before we do, I'm going to steal the camera for just a second.
Sounds good.
As always, y'all, please make sure to like, subscribe, push all the buttons, do all the things. You know, I don't know where they are, but you do, and I trust you. And one more shout out to the Brothers Apothecary. Make sure to click the link below and go check them out. Guarantee you're going to like something. And now for the final question. And this is entirely up to your interpretation. But what is an album that you feel is more on the obscure side? So it's not one that everybody knows, but is one you think everybody should go listen to?
I feel like these are all like all my answers are geared towards what is good to me, but by any means too. Kevin Gates, my favorite album of all time.
Oh yeah. What do you like about it?
Just how real it is. You know, I felt like I could relate to it at that time in my life, and just how genuine he was in that whole project. It was right after he came out of prison, so it was like it was a lot of the music that he made while he was going through it and dealing with a lot of the bullshit that he was dealing with. I remember like where I was when that album dropped, you know, knowing like being like, oh my God, you know, I got new Gates to listen to. Like, so yeah. I'd say that album, and it's one of his most underrated projects in my opinion. So yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, thank you for sharing it, everybody. After you go check out all of his music, go check out that. But we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, man.
Hell yeah. This has been another exciting episode of Jimmy's JamBox. I'm Jimmy.
I'm No Offense.
And we're signing off. Later, y'all.
That's a wrap. This is not a podcast. This is a show. Keep jamming.